All right, thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about Heritage Quest, which if you're here, you probably already know what it is, but it's just a database for genealogical resources that you can access using your library card. So just a quick note about who I am. My name is Anne Flanoy. I'm the Adult Services Librarian here at the Keller Library. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a genealogy expert or an expert on genealogical research. I'm a librarian, so my expertise is in accessing and finding information. So I'm going to help you use this database, but it's going to be up to you to use the information you find how you need. So what we're here tonight to discuss is Heritage Quest. So what exactly is Heritage Quest? So it is a treasure trove of primary resources all about genealogy, family history, just public records. It has records from 60 different countries going all the way back to the 1700s. So what's included is a whole lot of stuff. We've got census records, family and local and history books, wills and probates, city directories, military records, and then even more. So it's really resource heavy, like I said. Who can access Heritage Quest? So the library subscribes to Heritage Quest. You access it through the library. So you need to be a member of a library to access it. Anyone who holds a Keller library card can get in with their Keller library card. If you don't hold a Keller library card, you can access it through our library computers or through the library Wi-Fi without having to enter in a card number. It is a database that is offered through what's known as TechShare. So a lot of libraries in Texas do subscribe to that. So if you're a member of one of those libraries, you might have access that way too. The hardest part, honestly, is getting there. Like I said, you have to access it through the library. So you'll have to go in through the library website. So if you'll start at cityofkeller.com/library, you'll see a screen kind of what's on the left here, and you're looking for the tile that says digital resources. That will take you to all our digital resources, which is a page like you see here on the right, and you're looking for the link that says all databases. And that link takes you into our catalog. So this is the same catalog you would use to browse books and things, but we're browsing databases. So what you'll see first is a list of categories of databases. So if you'll just navigate either to the one that says all databases, which will take you to a list of alphabetical of all our databases, or you can use the one that says history and genealogy, which will take you to a list of these 6 databases that we have on that topic. And then we want the link for Heritage Quest. Now, if you're accessing from home or not using a library computer, you will be prompted at some point to plug in your library card number. So just have that handy. And also just a disclaimer that this page might start to look a little bit different in the future. We are moving to a new online catalog system. So it's just going to look a little visually different, but it should function mostly the same. So let's try it out. This is Heritage Quest. So this is the homepage. What you can see here, it's got a little bit of featured content. Everything that you can see here, you can get to another way into the database. So don't necessarily start here unless you see something that catches your eye. The first place you're going to want to go is to the search. And there are 3 different ways on this homepage that you can get to the search. There's a search here at the top, search here in the tabs in the middle, and then of course down here there's one that says begin searching. All 3 of these buttons take you to the exact same thing, just to make it confusing. So I just clicked on one of them, and this is what the search page looks like. And you can see it's broken out into different kinds of resources. Based on your information needs, you choose the one that you want. The best place to start is probably going to be in the census. That's why it's here in the top left. It's the most commonly used. And you can see they have 1940 all the way back to 1790. Now you might be thinking that 1940 is not very recent, but there is a law in the US, it's the 72-year rule, which means that census records are not available for 72 years after they're completed. So if you do the math, you'll figure out that the 1951 will come out next April in 2022. So right now, the latest that we have access to is 1940. Now on the census website, you can access information like general information of numbers and statistics, but for specific names and private information, that's what's applied to that 72-year rule. So let's try one out. So I'm going to start with the 1940 database. So I'm going to use my grandmother as an example, and she has a lot of names. So I'm just going to type them all in here. Okay, so I've just typed in her name here, and I'm just going to click search. You'd think with that many names that it would be a pretty exact search, but as you can see, I've come back with over 2,300 results. So that wasn't a very good search. So I'm going to go back and edit my search and make it a little more specific. There's lots of fields you can fill in here, like a lot. So just fill in all of the information that you have on the person that you're looking for and see if it can find them. So I know a lot more about her, so I'm just going to fill in the birth year. I know she was born in Texas, and this field, it'll help you out. It gives you a little autocomplete. And then I know her father's name and her mother's name. I know in 1940, she would have been a 14-year-old girl, so living with her parents. So her relation to the head of house is just going to be a daughter. And then I'm going to skip all of these because they're a little trickier. And then if we go down to gender, I'm just going to put that she was female and then try and see if that narrows it down. And we're down to 241, which is a much more manageable number. And I can see right away the first record is actually the one that I'm looking for. So that worked a lot better. So the more things that you can put into your search, the better your results are going to be. And the cool thing is it doesn't have to be exact. The information you're putting in, you can put in keywords and guesses and stuff like that. So from here, for our results, we can do a lot of cool stuff. We hover over these view record. It gives us a preview of the record, which is really handy if we aren't sure which record we're looking for. You can use that to preview it to get the right record without actually having to open anything. But I know this one is the right one, so I'm going to click on it and view it. Oh, I'm going to do a survey. Okay, so this is what a record looks like. You can see all of this here in the middle. This is transcribed from a handwritten document, but it's typed out here to make it a little easier for you to view. Down at the bottom, this is really cool. This is all of the people that were at that household, and these are linked too, so I can click on them and go to their record. You'll see I'm on the detail toggle here. If I toggle to source, it'll give me like citation information, etc. I can also email this document to myself or to someone else if they're interested. Just click on this send document and type in their email. You'll type it in twice and then click send email. One thing you should know here though is that it's not going to send you this page where it looks like this. What you're going to get is an email that looks like this, where it just says, you have this entry and here's a link. And if you click on the link, then it'll take you to where you can pull up that record again. So it's not going to send you that information in the email. It's going to send you a way to access it from that email. But the cool thing is every record that you email to yourself or to somebody, it remembers them. So like you can see here, this William Clark Schaefer, that's from an old discovery that I did another day, and it saves it in there too. So every time you type in the same email address, it remembers it and it collects them in this My Discoveries thing for you. And then kind of a tricky thing is that email comes from Ancestry.com, which I don't know if I've mentioned that Heritage Quest is powered by Ancestry.com, so you'll see their logo a lot. So just know if you're emailing it to yourself or anyone, it might look a little bit different than what you're expecting. We can also print the record, which is pretty cool. It does come out where it looks just like this. Over here on the left, you'll see a preview of what the actual record looks like, and we can view that. And this is where I think it gets really cool. So you can do all sorts of stuff with this. So you see it starts out with the highlighted record is the one that we've been looking at. And then all of these green records are the ones from the same household. So we can zoom in and actually read the handwriting if we want to. You'll see the columns and the rows they kind of float on here and they're typed in so you can read them a little bit better. So you're not losing yourself in this big kind of spreadsheet. Oh, one thing that I found was really cool, since this was my grandmother, I noticed that she was randomly assigned these supplemental questions for this census, which I didn't know was a thing, but they randomly picked so many people from a page on a census and they asked them extra questions, which are down here on the bottom, like where were your parents born, what's your native tongue, stuff like that, which I would not have seen if I hadn't looked at the view of this view of the record. So it kind of pays to pull up the actual view and zoom in a little bit and get a look. And also too, you'll notice that her name is transcribed wrong, which I know this is not her name, but if you look at the handwriting, I can see how they got it, which is another way, another tick in the box to tell you that you don't have to be exact when you're doing your searches. You can make guesses. You have a lot of tools in this view too. This transcribed panel over here on the left, you can hide it if you don't want it there. We can make this full screen if you want to make it a little bigger. In the tools, you can print, download this exact view, rotate, flip. Inverting the colors is pretty neat. If you're having trouble reading the handwriting, you might try inverting the colors and see if the ink shows up a little bit better inverted. And then in settings, you can change the highlighting and the columns and things like that, the view. So there's lots of stuff you can change in there. That's what a census search looks like. So let's go back and look at something else. Okay, so we started here in the census. Let's look at the books. I'm not going to do a whole lot in here. I just want to show you kind of what they look like. But you'll notice you can search a few ways. You can search by people, by a person's name, by the publication name, and then by city directories. So I'm just going to type in a name, see what comes up so you can see what kind of sources we're looking at here. You got business directories, city directories, county history, stuff like that. So if you open one, it's pretty similar to the census, except we're not seeing as transcription here. All of these publications presumably are in typed print, so they haven't been transcribed. So you actually have to read the actual document, and you can toggle through the pages to look at different pages in there. But you have the same tools and Zoom and all that stuff that you did in the census. Okay, let's look at the wills and probates real fast. So you'll notice it's broken out by state. So it helps to know what state the person that died that you're maybe looking for. So if we scroll down this alphabetical list of all the states, so I'm just going to go to Texas. You can type in any of these search terms to search. I'm going to try my grandfather. I know he died in Louisiana. Wait, yeah. One thing we didn't talk about when we were doing the census search is that there's these search filters, like I mentioned. You don't have to be exact in your search terms, but maybe you know you are correct. Like I know this is the exact way to spell Schaefer, but over in the results, you can see there's a whole bunch of different ways to spell Schaefer, and there's even like the English translation of the word Schaefer. And I want to filter out all those, so I can change my search to be exact to include only the spelling that I want, and then update my search. And then I'm just left with one result. So the same thing here, you can hover and preview. The cool thing is the preview actually includes the table of contents with links here, which is neat. But let's view this and look at it a little closer. So same thing, it's transcribed here. You can look at the source to get the citation on that. You can send it, print it, just like with the census. The cool thing I like about the wills and probates is when you view the actual document, it has like all their signatures and stuff on it, which I don't know, I find fascinating to see people's handwriting. So if you flip through, you can see like where they actually signed their will and see, maybe compare your ancestors to yours and see how it goes. But that's kind of cool. So that's wills and probates. So as you can see, there's a whole lot of other different databases within Heritage Quest. I'm not going to go through each one of them. They all function about the same. I'm sure you're getting kind of the idea. You'll just use them, like I said, differently based on your information needs. If you're looking up somebody you know who is in the war, then start in the military records and look for them there, like that. Oh, one more thing I did want to point out is down here at the bottom, there are links here to get information for other countries, if you know you're looking for something outside of the US. Okay, so that's the searching side of Heritage Quest. I'm going to show you a little bit in the research aids. If we just switch here to this tab, this is actual data that's compiled by genealogical research experts to help you in your search. So there's some good stuff on creating a good search. There's some really good stuff on African-American family research, which based on American history, you know that it can be problematic to trace your history back after a certain date. There's also really good stuff on the US Census. If we open these, it has information on what the census is, how it's done, what it's taken. And then there's also, you can actually look at the census forms. So you can see exactly what data is collected, which is pretty cool. Because sometimes on those historical records, it's hard to understand why they're collecting data or what that data actually means. So you can get good information on that here. The last thing I really want to show you is this maps area, which has some neat, fun things. We know that political boundaries have changed a lot over time, so this has historical maps of different things. So like if we open Texas here, we can see back in 1820, these black lines were the borders. We know that Texas wasn't even a state in 1820, but the white lines are the modern county lines. So you can compare them. So it can help you trace your family's location and stuff like that. And then if we, you know, go forward in time after we were admitted to the Union, you'll start to see the shape take a little bit more and the counties start to look a little bit more like they do today. And this is available for all 50 states. So that is pretty much the introduction to Heritage Quest. We didn't do a deep dive. Obviously, the best way to get what you're looking for is to just start typing in information and see where it leads you. And you'll find all sorts of cool stuff. If you have any questions, the librarians here are happy to help. You can reach out to us in person, of course. We'll take phone calls and emails as well. Thanks.